afternoon. I'm Kirsten Neese, the Director of Marketing for Cornerstone Homes. Today we're in our corporate offices and meeting with Frank Lackman, the president of our company. Frank, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
We thought it would be great for our viewers to kind of learn a little bit more about you and how you got into new home building and a little bit of insight from our leadership as about Cornerstone Homes. So here we go. So tell us a little bit how you got into new home construction.
Well, I got into home building by accident. I went to UVA and always thought I would be a banker, investment banking, Wall Street, something like that. Went to the comm school, got 2 degrees, finance and marketing. But when I graduated in '82, there was a recession and nobody was hiring. And so I went to work for a friend of mine, a college roommate's mother, who was starting up a home building business, doing her own development. And so I got into home building that way by accident.
Interesting. You would have started with a woman, as that probably wasn't very common back then either.
Not
to
at
have
all.
a female developer builder. That's pretty cool. And so then take us through your career a little bit. Like, where have you been? What have you done?
Well, I started in Arlington, and we were doing assemblages, tearing down single-family homes, blocks of them at a time, and building, it was redevelopment along the metro corridor, condominium, townhouses, and things like that. Did a couple of projects. Was a great opportunity because I got to do a little bit of everything from land acquisition, development, actual construction, the legal work with the condominiums. I mean, right off the bat, we were doing everything. It was a small shop. There were only 3 of us, and
nice.
So we did that, and then we assembled 7 acres next to the courthouse metro and had big plans for a hotel and all sorts of high-rise condominiums and everything. And the bottom fell out. Had another recession in '88.
Yeah.
And lost it and ended up going to work for another builder in a sales capacity.
Nice. Well, at least there's always that, right? If you can't make it on your own, there's always a big company somewhere.
That's right. Somebody that'll hire you to sell houses.
Right. So then you did work with a big national home builder for years in sales. And
I started with a regional builder in Northern Virginia. I did sales. The sales manager was a mentor, of mine, but he loved the fact that he didn't have to manage me. He'd just say, go out to this job in Stafford and sell houses. And he really didn't have to spend a lot of time with me. I understood what the deal was and how we were trying to make money and need to sell houses. And, I didn't bring him any deals he wouldn't sign, that kind of thing. So I did that for a few years. Then I went to work for D.R. Horton, which is the biggest national home builder, and started there in a sales management capacity, but moved up all the way up to division president, ran a division for them.
Then I think you thought you were going to retire somewhat and move back to Richmond, right?
Well, I don't know that I thought I was going to retire. They retired me.
Okay, okay.
But, I was there all 16 years, so that was a long time, and spent 7 years as a division president, which is a fairly long stretch. And then got fired. They decided they were going to go in a different direction. So then all my kids were in college or graduating high school and getting ready to go to college. So we decided to move back to Richmond because that's where Kate's from, my wife. And I thought I'd try home building in the Richmond market.
And so you've been with us 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years. Mm-hmm.
And
I wasn't hired to run Cornerstone Homes. I was originally hired to run the construction department.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
and Roger, Roger, he's fairly tight.
Yeah.
He likes
and wanted it was hands-on.
He's
really
hands-on. He likes the control. He wanted me to handle the construction, which he didn't like. We had jobs in North Carolina, and I think he was tired of commuting to North Carolina to run that job. So I took over, and it became pretty apparent to him quickly that I could have run the whole show here too. So that's what I started doing. And
Good.
He's been focusing on the land acquisition since then.
Yeah, which has been nice, I think, for you to be president of Cornerstone and leading all of us in the efforts of building the new homes and
Yeah,
having,
it's been great.
yeah. So,
I've enjoyed the small business aspects of Cornerstone Home that I really didn't have in my previous career with D.R. Horton. You know, they were a national home builder.
right,
If you needed money, you called the corporate office and they sent it to you. These are my bills this month, send me the money. You know, running a small business and having your own payroll and having to have money to buy property and develop property and make the payroll every 2 weeks, it's quite a challenge. I never really understood all the things that small business has to do to be successful.
yeah, and certainly your experience at the national level with the larger, gave you a lot of great experience with processes and policies and the know-how.
Right.
But yeah, it's
A lot of things to learn that I didn't realize when I took the job.
yeah, and a lot of hats for all of us to wear here. I mean, just because you're the president of the company doesn't mean that you're not out cleaning up on a cleanup day or
exactly.
organizing something for the team building for your teams and things like that. I mean, we here at Cornerstone do all have a lot of different hats.
My philosophy is I'm not going to ask anybody that works for me to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. I think that's important. Nobody wants to think, you're being told to do something and that person wouldn't do it or it's
Sure.
below them or something like that. So, yeah, if we have a cleanup day, I'm out there cleaning up.
Yep. So you sort of touched on this a little bit. What's the most challenging part of your job?
Well, personally, what I've had to learn to do is manage people and have patience, understand that they know how to do certain things, and not everybody's going to do their job the way I want them to do it. I really have to restrain myself from trying to micromanage every little aspect because, I feel like I know.
Right. Okay, you know a lot about.
Let me show you how to do it.
Yeah.
But
There's
I've
more than
realized
one way.
that, right, well, people need to learn how to do it best for themselves.
Sure.
So I'm trying to learn how to manage the outcome, not as much the process, although I think the processes are very important and I'm a process-oriented person. So I do try to give people my opinion of what I think is a good process, or at least tell them where I think their process, the way they're trying to create the process may not work for us. Because one of the things that Roger wants and I want for the company is to grow. And what's important when you're building 50 homes, what you can do and how you can do it if you're building 50 homes is not the same way you can do it when you're building 100 or 200 or 300 or 500. So you have to be, you have to think about those processes when you're building 50 and 100 so that you can get to 500. Because if you don't, you'll never get there.
Right.
The processes won't work. Things will fall apart. You end up with too many people and no efficiencies and that kind of thing.
Well, definitely that's something we're all focused on for sure. Mm-hmm. What do you find the most rewarding about your job?
Well, a couple of things. One, I always enjoy going back to a community a year or two after we've left and seeing how it's turned out, because when we're finishing, they're new and things are just getting established and the homeowners haven't put their own mark on it, And so when you go back a year or two later, the grass is greened up and the trees have leaves and matured, and the people have put their own mark on the houses, and you drive through, and if you talk to the neighbors, whatever issues they might have had in the building process, because it's an emotional process. They're moving and are building the house and worrying about whether we're going to do a good job for them. After a year or two, they've forgotten all those things and they're just enjoying what all of us spend so much time creating, and it's
Yeah,
nice.
and that is, I think, probably the most rewarding part of being in new home construction and developing communities for active adults, and seeing the finished product and seeing how much people really do enjoy what
Right.
we envision and create. So
And the second thing is just all the individual employees and how they're, taking on more responsibility, learning their job and becoming better at their responsibilities, taking on more responsibilities. That's always fun to watch.
yeah, see somebody's career develop.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's one thing you want our viewers to know about Cornerstone Homes?
I think the most important thing I would say that I would like them to know is that there are a bunch of people in our organization that are working hard every day trying to create great communities, quality homes, and a good customer experience. And while we sometimes struggle and don't, reach that goal, that doesn't mean that the people aren't trying every day. I mean, there really are so many moving parts to what we do. Every house has got thousands of pieces and hundreds of people that come and add their labor and their time to it, and all the thought and all the planning and all the approvals that are required and the actual construction and then the maintenance that goes into it after the fact. I mean, there are people here that get absolutely no recognition. Their picture's not up in the sales office. They're not out there meeting with the homeowners at any time, and they don't get to see when the customers are really enjoying their house and the clubhouse and the amenities that we're putting in. I mean, to me, it's all that hard work that people are doing, and doing it without any expectation of recognition. That's, I think is so great.
Yeah, I think just in the 5 years I've been here, the way that our team has developed and evolved over this time period, and for you for 7 years now. I mean, we're 40 some employees now, and
Sure.
just seeing that and knowing how much everybody here really cares about the work that we do.
Yeah.
And having an enjoyable experience in their own career, but also creating an enjoyable home and experience and everything for our home buyers. So what do you like to do when you're not working?
Well, I'm a big UVA sports fan.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
See all the paraphernalia.
I go to all the football. I'm season ticket holders for football and basketball, so I go to all the games, and I sit through them, win or lose, all the way to the end. I've been doing that for 25 years. So rain or shine, I'm there. I'll watch the whole game. I'm cheering the team on.
And you're not partial to any particular team. I mean, you do love the basketball and you do love the football, but you don't go to a lacrosse game. You'll go to
no, absolutely.
You like any of the events.
Baseball, lacrosse.
Yeah.
Swimming and diving. I'm cheering for them all. I haven't been to all the games, but I'm a UVA fan through and through.
That's great. That's great. All right, so we are going to do this little thing called fastball, and it's just super off the cuff. And basically, you just give me, your first thought. So, your favorite sporting event?
I would have to say when Virginia won the basketball tournament. That whole run through the tournament was awesome. Although I wasn't there in person.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's an exciting time. They don't call it March Madness for anything.
Exactly.
It is super exciting to see your team
that
make
was
it.
Especially
Gratifying.
Maddening.
Yeah.
With all the come from behind wins to get to the finals. Yeah, it was great.
Sure. All right, what are you reading?
I'm actually in the middle of 2 books. One is called After the Fall by Ben Rhodes, which is something that my daughter, who's super progressive, gave me, which I'm sure I'm not going to agree with anything in it, but she's trying to persuade me, so I'm going to start reading that. It's on my bedside table. And I just finished a book by Chris Bosch, Letters to a Young Athlete, which I enjoyed quite a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I also read the book you gave us for Christmas, which I thought was really good. I don't remember the title.
I know,
it
it
was a management book, but it was really good.
Yep.
I enjoyed that.
What's your dream vacation?
You know, I'm not much of a vacation person, but we go to Europe every few years, 2, 3, 5 years, something like that, and
Yeah.
I always enjoy myself. Doesn't matter where we go. We usually don't have any itinerary and just get a place and start walking the city. So, you know, been to Paris, been to Rome, been to Spain. You know, we went to Barcelona, Madrid. So
Yeah.
went to Monte Carlo, which was awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I guess any European vacation works for me.
Sounds like a great time. Your favorite TV series?
Of all time?
Well, yeah, or
I-
what you're watching right now. I mean,
Okay, so I can't find a good one right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. All time, I would say Sopranos or Breaking Bad.
okay.
Those are the best ones ever, you know, and I've watched them a couple of times. Watched them myself, then watched them with my sons
Yeah.
separately, then watched them again. I just watched Yellowstone, which I enjoyed quite a bit, and I'm waiting for the last season
Right.
that I can't find streaming anywhere without having to pay for it, and I'm too cheap to pay for it. And I'm thinking about watching The Wire because I hear that
I've
was,
not heard of that.
it's an old HBO one that came out around the same time as The Sopranos, and it's supposed to be very good, but I never watched it, so I might
Dive into that.
dive into that and see how that goes.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Not
a little
at
bit with us today, and hope you all enjoyed the interview with Frank and learning more about the man behind all of us and leading us all to create great communities and homes for you
And
to enjoy.
if you see me out in any of our communities, please say hello.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.